Nnu Ego would take an egg, symbol of fertility, and kneel and pray to this woman, her chi, to change her mind. Once upon a time, in the village of Oboli in Ibuza, the love that Ona and Nwokocha Agbadi had for each other brought about the birth of their daughter, Nnu Ego, whom they loved very dearly. After the death of her mother, Ona, Nnu Ego grew up with her father, Nwokocha Agbadi, who loved her dearly and took care of her. To Agbadi, Nnu Ego reminded him of Ona, but as a softer version of her mother. She had everything she could ask for as a child, and servants whenever she needed them. However, before Ona's death, she realized that Nnu Ego had a lump on her head, which in due course was covered with thick, curly black hair. But suddenly, one evening, she started to suffer from a strange headache that held her head and shoulder together. In panic, Ona sent for Agbadi, who came tearing down from Oboli with a dibia. The dibia touched the child's head and drew in his breath, feeling how much hotter the lump was than the rest of her body. He quickly set to work, arranging his pieces of kola nuts, snail shells, and cowries on the mud floor. He soon went into a trance and began to speak in a far-off voice, strange and unnatural. He said, "This child is the slave woman who died with your senior wife, Agonwa. She promised to come back as a daughter. Now here she is. That is why this child has the fair skin of the water people, and the painful lump on her head is from the beating your men gave her before she fell into the grave. She will always have trouble with her head, but if she is unhappy, it will trouble her both physically and emotionally. My advice is that you go and appease this slave woman, because she is Nnu Ego's chi." In time, Ona passed in childbirth, leaving Nnu Ego to her father, Agbadi. She grew up to be very beautiful, as predicted. After thorough deliberations, her father picked Amatoko as her suitor. The wedding became the talk of town in Ibuza, and Nnu Ego was celebrated to the fullest by her father. Agbadi's heart was full of bursting point when the second day, the people of Amatoko's compound came to thank him for giving them his precious daughter, Nnu Ego. They did so with 6 full kegs of palm wine. Agbadi smiled contentedly and invited everybody in his own compound to drink, saying, "My daughter has been found an unspoiled virgin. Her husband's people are here to thank us." Nevertheless, this new excitement didn't last for too long. Months went by, yet Nnu Ego was failing everybody. There was no child. "What am I going to do, Amatoko?" she cried. "After the disappointment of another month, just make sacrifices to that slave woman and pay your father a visit. He may have suggestions to make. Other than that, pray for Olisa to help us." After a while, Nnu Ego could not voice her doubts and worries to her husband anymore. It became her problem and hers alone. She went from one dibia to another in secret and was told that the slave woman who was her chi would not give her a child because she has been dedicated to the river goddess before Agbadi took her away in slavery. Nnu Ego would take an egg, symbol of fertility, and kneel and pray to this woman to change her mind, but nothing changed. She was not surprised when Amatoko told her casually, one evening that she would have to move to a nearby hut kept for older wives because his people found him a new wife. He said, "My father is desperate. It is now known that your chi came from the people down by the river. Their women are said to be strong. I am sorry, Nnu Ego, but I cannot fail my people." Eventually, Amatoku's first wife took in the first month she moved in with her husband. Nnu Ego quietly went into the shadows because she couldn't bear the pain of the mistreatment that she got from her husband and his people. Her father urged her to return home if she ever found life unbearable in her husband's home. Fast forward to a few months later, when the younger wife gave birth. Nnu Ego spent so much time with the child that she started to breastfeed the child whenever the mother was not around. It didn't take long before Amatoku caught her and beat her badly, after which they summoned her father, Agbadi, who couldn't stand looking at how badly her daughter looked. He took her home and she never went back to Amatoku's house. And this is just the beginning of what fate had in store for her. Join us on this journey to discover the life of this young woman, Nnu Ego, and how she forged her fate. This story is taken from the book The Joys of Motherhood by Buchi Emecheta. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment. Thanks for watching. See you in my next video.